Santhammal used to have visions of bright lights. She shares that, when I first came to Bhagavan, I saw a bright light like the sun with Bhagavan in the midst of it. Later on, I used to see a light between my eyebrows. On another occasion, I saw a big light come out of Bhagavan's head and fill the whole hall. In that light, everything disappeared, including Bhagavan, and the feeling of I remained floating like a luminous void. When I related this to Bhagavan, he affirmed that such visions do occur. He said, "To know how one looks, one must look into a mirror. However, the person should not take the reflection to be oneself. What is perceived by the senses and the mind is never the truth. All visions are mere mental creations, and if one believes in them, spiritual progress ceases. Inquire to whom the visions occur. Find out who is the witness. Stay in the pure awareness, free from all thoughts, and do not move out of that state." Another incident related by Santhammal is as follows. Once, a person from the northern corner of India came to the ashram and stayed for weeks. On the day of his departure, he stood before Bhagavan and said, "Bhagavan, I am going far away and I do not know when I shall be coming back. I am much less fortunate than those who have the benefit of your constant presence. How can you help me, a sinner in a distant place, unless you think of me? I implore you to give me a place in your mind." Bhagavan answered, "A jnani has no mind. How can one without a mind remember and even think? So, how can I remember all of these prayers? I shall transmit your prayer to the Lord of the universe. He will look after you. It is his realm." Later on, after the devotee had left, Bhagavan turned towards us and said, "People imagine that the devotees crowding around a jnani get special attention. If a guru shows partiality, how can he be a jnani? Is he so foolish as to be flattered by people's attention on him and the service they do? Does distance matter? The guru is pleased with one who gives himself up entirely and abandons his ego forever. Such a man is taken care of wherever he may be. He need not pray. God looks after him unasked." Then Bhagavan gave the example of the frog that lives constantly at the base of the lotus stem in the water. Though the frog is constantly in the proximity of the flower, it is the bees that get the honey. They fly down from long distances, get the honey, and then fly back. They are indeed blessed. Another time, two ladies from the far south came to Bhagavan and pretended to be the guru, and the other the disciple. When they came to the hall, the disciple spread a huge seat for her guru and made her sit on it. After going to Bhagavan to get his blessings, she came back to sit in front of her guru. Again, she went back to Bhagavan and asked him to teach her the path of salvation in order to achieve liberation. Bhagavan kept silent. The disciple felt hurt, as it was nearing evening and they had to leave on the night train. "Swami, please instruct us," she begged. "It's getting late." A few minutes later, she again reminded Bhagavan. Finally, exasperated, she asked, "Swami, at least tell us something. All people speak of ignorance. What is ignorance? Please explain that to us." Bhagavan turned to Muruganar, who was seated next to him, and compassionately said, "Ask her to inquire within who is ignorant." Muruganar turned to the ladies and replied, "Now you can go, for your initiation is over." Both ladies left disappointed. Later, Bhagavan remarked about this incident, "Everything has to be done in a hurry. Everybody has some train to catch. They visit this Swami in a rush and want to carry away a parcel of liberation and salvation. They read something here and there, and they think they are learned and ready for liberation. Who wants salvation? To whom is the liberation? Instead of simply turning within and being the silence which is saturated within the heart, they roam about outside and remain agitated without peace. Everything is already within. The one who searches is the very thing one is searching for. Stillness is the truth." Without Santhammal's diligent recordings, incidents such as these would not have been available to seekers. In addition to being a wonderful cook, Santhammal was a very strong woman. One day, as a big pot of sambar was boiling, Bhagavan suddenly entered the kitchen. The pot was so big that usually it took 3 men to handle it. As the sambar was boiling vigorously, Bhagavan recommended the pot be lifted off the fire and went away. Santhammal, seeing no one else around, effortlessly lifted it and put it aside. After doing so, she exclaimed, "This is a miracle performed by Bhagavan. Ordinarily, no single lady would even be able to touch it, but because Bhagavan uttered it, I was able to lift the pot and put it away." Such was her faith. Santhammal was very kind and helpful to the sadhus living in Palakotu. They had to cook their own food, so she used to supply them with the things that they could not get, such as pickles and even some of the sweets and other delicacies that were made in the ashram. She did all of this with Bhagavan's knowledge. Once, avial, a South Indian delicacy with a lot of vegetables, was being served in the ashram. Muruganar was living in Palakotu. Bhagavan called Santhammal aside and told her that Muruganar loved avial. Who would give avial to Muruganar? Santhammal immediately ran to the kitchen to make a parcel of avial for Muruganar. With this, she ran to Palakotu, but Muruganar was not there as he had left for town to beg her his food. She caught up with him on the road and told him that Bhagavan had sent avial for him. Muruganar wept profusely, thinking of this great act of compassion of his master. As she became older, Santhammal felt that she could no longer do physical work for the ashram. Not wanting to be a burden, she wanted to leave. That night, Bhagavan appeared to her in her dream and said, "Where will you go, Santhammal? Who will look after you?" Indirectly, Bhagavan was saying that he would look after Santhammal. Santhammal remained peacefully in the ashram until she was absorbed in Arunachala.